That crisp 4K display in the store, the salesperson's confident smile. The price tag seems almost too good to be true. Stop right there. That $300 TV isn't just going to break, it's leaking toxic chemicals into your living room right now. Flame retardants banned in Europe. Lead in circuit boards. Plastics that off-gas carcinogens every time the screen heats up. We're exposing 13 TV brands poisoning your home. And by number 1, you'll know which screens are safe and which ones are silent killers. 13th element, the invisible failure. You probably haven't heard of Element, and there's a reason for that. This budget-focused brand operates in the shadows of the TV market. A 50-inch 4K TV for under $300? There's a reason it's so cheap. Element TVs are manufactured in Chinese factories with minimal safety standards. Independent testing found flame-retardant chemicals in the plastic casings at levels 3 times higher than EU limits. These chemicals, PBDES, are linked to thyroid disruption and developmental issues in children. The flimsy plastic bodies aren't just cheaply made, they off-gas when the TV heats up. That new electronics smell, that's volatile organic compounds entering your air. You're not watching a movie, you're breathing a chemical cocktail while your picture quality falls apart. And when something inevitably goes wrong, the minimal customer support means you're stuck with a toxic brick in your living room that you can't even get rid of safely. 12. On, the forgotten giant. On used to mean something. Back when your grandparents were young, this name represented American retail trust and quality. Those days are dead. Today's On TVs are manufactured by Chinese companies that license the name through Walmart's private label program. They're counting on you to trust the Walmart brand and ignore what you're actually buying. According to Consumer Reports, On scores 52 out of 100, with 68% of units experiencing hardware failures by month 24. Think about that. 2 out of every 3 On TVs will break down before they turn 2 years old. Walmart reviews average 3.8 out of 5, but this belies over 9,800 reports of panel defects in 55-inch Roku TV models. The screens are so fragile, they're failing from normal use. RTing's testing shows brightness hitting only 320 nits compared to the 800 needed for proper HDR. That means all those beautiful HDR movies you wanted to watch, they'll look flat and lifeless. The audio distorts above 50% volume. You're basically forced to keep your TV at whisper levels or invest in external speakers. And here's the kicker, a $198 price tag for a 55-inch TV sounds amazing until you're facing $165 repair bills that nobody will honor. But here's what Walmart isn't telling you. These budget TVs use lead-based solder in circuit boards, a practice banned in the EU under RoHS regulations. The inadequate ventilation design causes the TV to overheat regularly, accelerating the breakdown of internal components and increasing the release of toxic fumes from heating plastics. But at least On still exists as a product line. The next brand? They're selling you a corpse dressed up as a television. If you're shocked by what these TV brands are hiding, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting to the brands that actually have a chance of lasting more than 2 years. 11. RCA, the name that died, RCA, the company that pioneered color television in 1954. The modern version of this brand is not considered reliable, as consumers complain about a lack of durability with RCA televisions that don't last very long or might not work straight out of the box. Dead on arrival. That's not a manufacturing defect, that's a business model. One customer reported spending $800 on an RCA TV that only lasted a year and a half before going dark, calling it an absolute waste of money compared to Samsung and LG sets that lasted over 10 years. Another buyer purchased an RCA TV that was dead on arrival, and when they reached out for warranty support, RCA refused to honor coverage despite no visible physical damage. Some users report needing to heat the back of their RCA TV with a hairdryer for it to work for maybe 5 minutes before the screen gets lines running through it or goes completely white. Read that again. You have to use a hairdryer to operate your television. That's not troubleshooting, that's desperation. Many RCA TV buyers complain about lines running across the TV, sometimes vertical and sometimes horizontal. One reviewer unboxed their 65-inch smart Roku TV and saw a line on the top right of the screen, likely a defect. They got a replacement, but the same line problem returned in less than a year. The warranty service is a nightmare. One customer's replacement process took several weeks and many emails due to a cracked screen. When problems arise, customers get redirected to Curtis Company, enduring months of back and forth with pictures of remotes and model numbers, only to be told to buy a new remote at full price. At least RCA is honest about being terrible. The next brand hides behind a trusted store to sell you garbage. 10. The manufacturing conspiracy, what they're all hiding. Wait, Element, On, RCA, Insignia, Hisense, TCL. Have you noticed something? Here's what TV manufacturers don't want you to know. These different brands are made in the same Chinese factories. They're licensing American brand names and selling you the same toxic components with different logos. It's the exact game Aldi plays with food. Clean products in their home country, toxic products for Americans, because our regulations let them get away with it. In China's domestic TV market, they follow stricter chemical safety standards, better quality control on flame retardants, lower lead content in circuit boards. They know how to make safe TVs. They just choose not to do it for you, because cutting those safety corners saves them $3 to $5 per unit. You're not buying different brands. You're buying the same toxic screen with different stickers. And the component they're all using, it's about to get even worse. 9. Insignia, Best Buy's dirty secret. Walk into any Best Buy and you'll see them. Rows and rows of Insignia TVs with price tags that make every other brand look overpriced. There's a reason Best Buy pushes these so hard. They're making money off your naivety. Best Buy's house brand Insignia has well-publicized reliability issues, with customers frequently reporting problems with the television's lifespan and audio. Reddit reviewers mention that Insignia TVs tend to break just after surpassing the end of the warranty period, leaving owners with little recourse. Convenient timing, isn't it? The TV works just long enough for the warranty to expire, then fails spectacularly. Multiple users report that once problems develop, remote controls become irreplaceable because nobody answers customer service calls, and finding compatible remotes becomes impossible. Most Insignia models suffer from narrow viewing angles that cause colors to shift dramatically when you're not sitting directly in front of the screen. Family movie night becomes a battle for the center seat because anyone sitting to the side gets a washed-out, color-shifted mess. The refresh rates are typically limited to 60 Hz, resulting in noticeable motion blur during fast-paced scenes in movies or sporting events. Users report their TVs are absolute garbage, with remotes that break and make the TV unusable since you cannot buy replacements. One frustrated customer noted the TV becomes completely useless without a functioning remote. Another described plugging in headphones causing the TV to never work properly again, with ads appearing every 5 minutes and sound failing to function. The sound quality forces most buyers to purchase external speakers. The smart features lag and crash. And when you need help, Best Buy's customer service will shuffle you between departments until you give up. That's not a budget TV, that's planned obsolescence with a retail markup. And we're just getting started. The brands coming up next actually have a chance of lasting more than 2 years. 8. Philips, software nightmare. Philips makes medical equipment, lighting, and about a dozen other product categories. Maybe that's the problem. When you're trying to do everything, you end up doing nothing particularly well. Customer reviewers often blame the software for Philips smart televisions and their inability to handle software updates and new apps. Your TV will update itself and suddenly half your streaming apps won't work anymore. Screen flickering is a common problem customers mention with Philips TVs, leading to poor long-term reliability. Here's something most people don't know. Philips sold its TV brand name to a third-party manufacturer. You're not actually buying a Philips TV. You're buying a TV with Philips branding made by someone else who paid for the privilege of using that logo. It's corporate cosplay. According to which survey data covering over 15,000 respondents, Philips developed the most faults in the first 6 years of ownership, with 24% of TVs experiencing problems. That's 1 in 4. Those aren't acceptable odds when you're spending hundreds or thousands of dollars. The smart features that sold you on the TV in the first place become the source of endless frustration. Apps crash. The interface freezes. Firmware updates break more than they fix. You bought a smart TV and ended up with a dumb screen that occasionally works. And if that sounds frustrating, the next brand shows how a TV can fail even before you touch a single setting. 7. Scepter, the viewing angle disaster. Scepter offers really affordable 4K TVs with nice designs and decent contrast ratios. They throw in voice control and Google Home integration to sweeten the deal. On paper, it looks like a winner. Then you actually try to watch it. One of the most annoying things about Scepter TVs is their really bad viewing angle. Unless you're sitting dead center, directly in front of the screen, the picture quality falls apart. Colors fade, contrast disappears, details blur. Move your head 6 inches to the left, and it's like watching a completely different, worse TV. The sound volume is weak. You'll be cranking it to maximum just to hear dialogue over background noise. The smart features feel underdeveloped, like someone checked boxes on a feature list without actually making sure those features work well. The image quality has issues that become more apparent the longer you own the TV. What looked acceptable in the store starts showing its true colors, or lack thereof, after a few weeks of use. For the price, you might think you're getting a bargain, but a bargain that you can only watch from one specific spot in your room isn't much of a bargain at all. But that's nothing compared to what happens next when a once trusted brand shows just how far its legacy has fallen today. 6. Hitachi, reputation versus reality. Hitachi is a well-known Japanese brand with a long history. That history is precisely why seeing them on a worst TV list might surprise you. But brand legacy doesn't pay the bills when your TV stops working. Which? Survey results found that Hitachi TVs developed faults in 24% of units within the first 6 years, tying with Philips for one of the highest failure rates measured. The Japanese engineering reputation doesn't apply to modern Hitachi TVs because most of them aren't actually made in Japan anymore. Like many legacy brands, Hitachi has licensed its name to manufacturers who prioritize cost-cutting over quality. You're buying the ghost of a great company, not the company itself. The logo on the front hasn't changed, but everything behind that logo has. Users report that Hitachi TV doesn't live up to its reputation, and while not entirely bad, the brand falls short of expectations. That's the most damning thing you can say about a formerly premium brand. It's not terrible enough to be obviously bad, but it's not good enough to justify buying it over competitors. But if paying extra for a fading name sounds bad, wait until you see what happens when updates can quietly destroy your entire TV. 5. Vizio, the bricking time bomb. Vizio used to be America's scrappy underdog TV brand. Decent quality at reasonable prices, those days are over. Consumer Reports estimates that 20% of Vizio TVs will experience a problem within the first 5 years, earning them a fair rating for predicted reliability. But the statistics don't capture the full horror of Vizio ownership. Customers report TVs that randomly shut off and won't turn back on for long periods, with stores refusing returns and manufacturers offering only troubleshooting. Multiple buyers describe purchasing Vizio TVs that worked briefly before simply stopping working, with customer service suggesting they buy new ones. Here's the nightmare scenario that keeps happening. Firmware updates brick the TV completely. Your TV updates itself overnight, and when you wake up, it's a $500 paperweight. The TV updates itself and suddenly requires internet connection to view local air channels, putting channels under their watch-free web-based software, even though users paid for the TV. One customer bought a 40-inch Vizio in 2019 and had it until 2022 when it just stopped working, then bought another 40-inch Vizio that lasted until 2025 before the same thing happened. This person bought the same brand twice and got burned twice, then smashed the second TV with a hammer in frustration. Some buyers had their Vizio TV replaced 4 times, with each replacement having the exact same issue of turning itself off and rebooting, plus new problems like not connecting to Wi-Fi and sound cutting off. But here's what's worse than a bricked TV. Vizio uses phthalates in their plastic housings to keep costs down. The EU restricts these endocrine disruptors. America doesn't. Every hour your Vizio runs, it heats up and releases phthalates into your air. Your TV is poisoning your family before it bricks itself. Vizio's customer service won't fix the firmware, and they definitely won't mention the chemicals. That's not customer service, that's corporate arrogance poisoning your living room. 4. Hisense, the growth at all costs disaster. Hisense is the fastest growing TV brand in America. Growth sounds good until you realize how they're achieving it. They're selling cheap TVs that break. Consumer Reports estimates that 20% of Hisense TVs will experience a problem within the first 5 years, putting them in the same category as Vizio for reliability concerns. According to aggregated data from Consumer Reports, rtings.com, Amazon reviews, and Better Business Bureau complaints, 68% of Hisense owners reported issues within 2 years. 68%. More than 2 out of 3 buyers will have problems before their TV even turns 3 years old. Budget models like the U6K have a 25% backlight failure rate within 2 years, but that's not the worst part. To hit those low prices, Hisense uses brominated flame retardants, BFRs, that Europe phased out years ago. These chemicals are linked to neurological damage in children. The TV breaks in 2 years, but your kids breathed those chemicals the entire time. Firmware updates brick the picture quality. Customer service suggests you pay for repairs on software problems, and the company claims 4% defect rates, while 68% of owners report issues. That's not growth. That's poisoning customers faster than the competition. 3. TCL, the value trap. TCL has built a reputation as the budget king. Good picture quality at prices that seem impossible. The secret? They're cutting corners in places you won't notice until it's too late. Consumer Reports noted that HDR performed poorly on the TCL 55S551G because the TV doesn't have the peak brightness needed for HDR contrast. You're buying a 4K HDR TV that can't actually deliver proper HDR. The feature exists on paper, but not in practice. Viewing angles fall apart if you're not dead center. The TV randomly shuts off. Users unplug and replug it multiple times just to turn it on. But here's the real value trap. TCL skips EMF shielding. European standards require electromagnetic field protection. Budget Chinese TVs, they skip this expensive safety feature. You're sitting 3 feet from unshielded radiation for hours every day. The EU wouldn't allow it. America does. When the backlight dies, and it will, repair techs will tell you the same thing. TCL, Hisense, Insignia all use the same cheap toxic components. Different logos, same poison, same failure. That's not value. That's a chemical time bomb with a warranty. 2. Samsung, the confusing middle ground. Wait, Samsung on a worse TV list? Hear me out. Samsung ranks highly among consumers for reliability, with product quality and warranty protection that consumers trust to deliver high-quality televisions made to last. It's not unusual for Samsung TVs to last 10 years or longer. So what's the problem? The problem is, Samsung makes about 40 different TV models across 6 different series, and quality varies wildly depending on which one you buy. Their low-end models are just expensive versions of the same problems we've been discussing. The mid-range models are hit or miss. Only the high-end QLED and OLED panels consistently deliver the quality the Samsung name promises. Samsung has also started cramming their TVs with ads, tracking, and data collection that turns your living room into a surveillance center. You paid for the TV, but Samsung still treats it like they own it. Updates push more ads. The interface gets slower. Features you paid for get moved behind additional paywalls. The confusing model numbers hide which TVs are actually safe. Their budget models use the same toxic shortcuts as Hisense and TCL, but Samsung charges you double because the logo says premium. You're paying luxury prices for the same Chinese factory components, same flame retardants, same lead solder, just a fancier box. 1. The winner, least terrible, LG and Sony. After tearing apart 11 brands, we finally reached the top. And the truth is, there are only two brands consistently delivering reliable TVs in 2025, LG and Sony. Sony ranks highly in customer satisfaction, sitting just behind Samsung in reliability ratings among consumers. Sony televisions nearly always last at least 5 years, and many people operate these models for 10 years or more, with excellent picture quality and bright screens thanks to high-end processors. According to which survey data, LG scored highest for customer satisfaction among major TV brands. Sony gets a very good rating for reliability from Consumer Reports, with estimates showing just 11% of TVs will develop problems during the first 5 years compared to 20% for brands like Hisense and Vizio. But here's what really matters. Both brands meet European RoHS standards: lead-free solder, flame retardants that won't poison your kids, EMF shielding that actually works. They're not just more reliable, they're actually safe. These brands cost more upfront. A 55-inch Sony or LG OLED will run you 2 to 3 times what you'd pay for a Hisense or TCL. But here's the math nobody talks about. That cheap TV that dies in 2 years actually costs you more than the expensive TV that lasts 10 years. LG's OLED panels lead the industry in picture quality. Their WebOS interface is fast and doesn't get bogged down with updates. When problems occur, LG's customer service actually responds and resolves issues instead of telling you to buy a new TV. Sony manufactures their televisions with premium materials and maintains quality control that prevents the mass failures plaguing cheaper brands. Sony's high-end processors deliver reliable results from the software, creating televisions you can count on for years. Neither brand is perfect. LG's lower-end LED models cut corners. Sony's prices can feel astronomical, but both companies still operate under the revolutionary concept that a TV should last longer than a smartphone. The verdict: stop poisoning your living room. You're standing in front of that wall of televisions again. The prices range from $200 to $2,000. Now you know the secret. Most of those TVs aren't just designed to fail. They're poisoning your home with chemicals Europe banned years ago. The $300 Hisense, off-gassing toxins while your kids watch cartoons. The $400 Vizio, releasing endocrine disruptors. The $200 Element, flame retardants that mess with your thyroid. Element, On, RCA, Insignia, TCL, same Chinese factories, same toxic shortcuts, different logos. Because American regulations let them, only LG and Sony consistently meet European safety standards. They cost more because they're built without poisoning you. The next time a salesperson shows you a deal, ask yourself, is saving $500 worth exposing your family to chemicals banned in 17 countries? If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button and subscribe. We're exposing every electronics manufacturer hiding toxic shortcuts. Drop a comment. Do you own one of these brands? What shocked you most? And click that next video. We're exposing another category where budget means toxic.